Hi, my name is Dan Garland, and thank you for ordering the Wine in a Box wine tasting for your home. We really appreciate you doing that, and I think you're going to enjoy the wines that you've selected. The wines at our location are really exclusive to us, especially in the state of Missouri, but many of the wines you may taste may be exclusive anywhere in the United States, and we would be the only ones to carry them. So we've been in business 30 years. We're celebrating our 30th year this year, and so we appreciate you ordering the Wine in a Box and look forward to other events that you might want to do with us. One of the things that's important in tasting wine and understanding aromas of wine is how to taste wine. And it's one of the things that we do here quite a lot, which is one of the benefits of our company. And what we do is, the first thing we do is we look for balance. And a balance in a wine means that you have good fruit up front, and that means what you smell and what you taste, and then nice acidity in a white wine. And that means not so much acidity where it may be puckering you up, and not acidity at all where there's kind of no finish to the wine at all. In red wines, it's the same way. You have good fruit up front that you're finding, and then a nice tannin, and tannin is the dryness you find in red wines. So those things have to really balance out, and that's the first thing you look for when you're tasting a wine. So we're going to go through what we describe as Wine 101, and that is basically how to taste wine when you're opening up the bottle and pouring it in your glass. And you can follow along with me if you so choose, or you can kind of go through as you open up the bottles and taste each one. So one of the main things about a wine is it has to have some breathability to it. It has to have a little bit of aeration, and we'll go through that as well. But the key ingredient, first of all, is to open the wine, obviously, especially if it's a wine with a real cork. Now, wine with a real cork has about a 10 to 20% chance, a 2 to 3% chance of having what is described as cork taint. And cork taint is when the cork manufacturer does not cleanse the cork properly. If they don't do that, you end up with a wine that is basically skunked, or the cork forms a bacteria on it, and then it really skunks your wine. And so your wine will not be very good. It won't taste good, it won't smell good. And obviously that's a real key. You can't know it, you won't know it until the winemaker actually puts it in the bottle itself. And then once it's opened up, you'll get that smell. And that smell will be kind of like a wet cardboard, a musty old basement, or something like that. So always want to smell the cork and just make sure that you're going to smell fruit on it, probably from the wine, or that it doesn't really have much of a smell at all. So that's a real key. And that's one of the things you do with the real cork. And that's why you see more artificial corks out there and more wines with screw tops, because they're trying to get away from that a little bit in having any sort of a cork taint. So that's really the first thing you always do. The second thing you want to do, of course, is you want to pour the wine in the glass. And this is a white wine called Viognier that we're trying out. And the first thing you always want to do is you want to take the wine, you want to tilt it to its side and hold it up. And what you're trying to do is you want to look through it and make sure it's real clear and bright. You don't want a wine that's dull. You don't want a wine that's cloudy. A wine that's cloudy may be too young or too old. You can always tell the wine, the color or the age of a wine by its color itself. If the wine starts to get really dark and golden in color, that may be a sign of too much age to the wine, and it may be past its prime. But what you want to see is real nice brightness to it, a real reflection off of the light. And that means you've got a good, nice, bright wine. In a red wine, you always want to have nice reflection as well. You just don't want something that's real dull looking. That means the wine could be possibly too old. So then what we do is we want to swirl the wine. So these are our 5 S's. We're going to see the wine. Now we're going to swirl the wine. And what we're doing here is we're letting loose of all of the volatile acids that are in the wine itself, naturally in the wine. And so you want to release that because that's releasing the fruit. You have to remember a lot of these wines have been encapsulated in a bottle for many, many years, and they need a little bit of aeration, and that's what we're doing here, is giving the wine a little bit of aeration to it, and so it opens it up, as they say. So you can do that, let it sit a minute. You You can do that and let it sit a minute. Especially if you have the wine a little bit too cold, you can also kind of cup your hand around it and warm it up a little bit, because the wine that's going to be too cold will shut down a little bit. You won't have as much acidity, you won't have as much fruit. So after we swirl it, we want to smell. And remember, 85% of what you taste is what you smell. And so it's really important that you really get your nose in here and kind of smell and kind of decide what kind of fruits you're picking up. Usually in a white wine, you're going to pick up more of a tropical fruit or a citrus type fruit, grapefruits, banana, pineapple, so forth. So in this wine, you always pick up, this Viognier is always very honeysuckle and peach. And that's what's really beautiful about the wine itself. And the wine you'd be tasting for yours, you're going to have to really kind of talk amongst yourself and figure out, okay, what are we smelling? What are we picking up? And so it's really important that you get a full whiff of that, because as you know, if you have a clogged nose, you can't really taste anything, taste any food if you have a cold or so forth. So real important in wine tasting to really get some good smells out of it. So this one has a little bit of toasty oak, so you know that's going to have a little bit of oak influence to it, aged in oak. Toasty oak always means French oak that it's aged in. So then we come in and we do what we want to do and what we came to do, and that's to taste the wine. And so we're really, in the front of your tongue picks up sweetness. The sides of your tongue pick up really saltiness, and the back of your tongue picks up really bitterness. So that's when you taste a wine, you taste the fruit up front, and in the back, you're tasting that acidity, or you're tasting a little bit of that tannin or dryness in a red wine. And so it's the same thing here. So when we'll taste the wine, if you just take the wine and you put it in your mouth and you just drink it down, you're not going to be able to taste the wine as well as when you would if you're going to hold it in your mouth and do what is another one of our S's, and that is to slurp the wine. So we have seen the wine, we have swirled the wine, we have smelled the wine, and now we're going to slurp the wine. And in slurping it, you want to take a little bit in your mouth and really put it underneath your tongue. Hold your head down a little bit and just kind of whistle backwards, and just take a little bit of a whistle backwards. And what that will do is the wine will really envelop your entire mouth, and it will totally open up the wine, and you're going to taste all these different nuances that you wouldn't have tasted if you just take the wine, if you just had taken the wine and drank it down without really moving around your mouth. So I'll demonstrate here, and we'll see how we do. Now, I know somebody out there just spit that all over their friend, but what really happens now is your mouth starts to pop, and you get so much tingling going on the sides of your mouth, and you can taste so much more of the wine. And this is where we come back to our original thought about balance. So this wine has really nice fruit up front, and in the back end, you have a real nice balance going on. It's a very lingering finish. You taste more of that peach. You got that nice acidity to the finish. So it does take a little time to practice that, but enjoy the time you have to taste all the different wines. It is something you want to do up front. You want to do at a restaurant. You want to do every time you taste a wine, because then you're going to decide what you like and don't like about it and what flavors you pick up. So enjoy the wine, enjoy your tasting, and we're so glad you were able to come to Garland Wines for this fun and interesting tasting. Thank you.